Hello and welcome to Tree Spotting episode number 9. I'm standing under the splendid Gulmohar in the heart of Cubbon Park in Bangalore. There is no more pleasing sight than seeing the Gulmohar in bloom in May. And for most of us in Bangalore, this spot, this rock is a cherished part of our childhood and our memories. So I'm really happy that this Gulmohar is still here. But just like most trees, all we know about the tree is that it's beautiful and it's red. As part of this episode, I'm going to meet Vijay and learn more about this tree and possibly a bit about this rock. If you're ready, let's go. Vijay, what's this wonderful tree called?
Well, in botanical nomenclature, it's called Telenix regia. Then you have the French, the British, and the Indians giving it their own names. The British, in their state fashion, called it the Mayflower because it flowers in May.
Okay.
The French, with their panache and their style, as it were, they call it the Flamboyant, which derives itself, the name derives from the French word for flame.
I see. Okay.
Though it also has, the tree itself has an attitude of flamboyance. It seems to float on the air, both the leaves and the flowers. And then, of course, we Indians have embellished it in our Oriental way. We call it the Gulmohar, I think meaning as resplendent as a gold coin, referring to the flowers.
Gulmohar.
Yes.
Okay.
Gulmohar. If you analyze the individual words, it breaks up into things which don't add up really. I mean, Gul is Persian and Hindustani for rose or flower, and then Mohar can be peacock or it can be a gold coin. Depends on whether it's M-O-H-R or M-O-H-U-R, Mohar.
So isn't this great? I mean, in India we call it the Gulmohar, and I don't know how many of you have ever thought about why we call it the Gulmohar. But if you try to go into the etymology of Gulmohar using Persian or any other source, as Vijay says, it's not very clear.
No, it's not. And it came into India in 1840s, and different people would have given it. It's also called Poinciana.
Okay.
That's another name for it, and Poinciana regia, in fact. And that has a French origin again. The name.
And where is this tree originally from?
It's from Madagascar. The tree was found or rediscovered by a gentleman called Wenzel Boyer, who was an Austrian. It is known that this tree existed in Madagascar, but a lot of them were found in Mauritius. And it was thought at one stage it was extinct. Even in 1832, it was extinct in Madagascar, till Boyer found it.
Okay.
And then that was established as the source, the origin of the Gulmohar or Poinciana or Telenix regia. And then, of course, next to Madagascar is one of the great botanic gardens in the world, early ones, that is Pamplemousse in Mauritius, where there's a lot of different plants which have been seen for the first time by the rest of the world.
Okay.
And they were distributed out, and I think we got in India the Gulmohar from Pamplemousse.
I see. So again, just want to clarify, the Ceiba is from Ecuador, the Tabebuya is from Brazil, the Jacaranda is from Argentina, and now the Gulmohar is from Madagascar. Wow, that's like... And all these trees are on lanes outside my home. So I find that fascinating.
Yeah, and they've all been funneled into India, and turned out very well. We've picked up the choicest of the tropical flowers, including the bougainvillea, and really made a big thing out of it. We are one of the great centers of the bougainvillea in the world.
So maybe in our next episode, we'll dwell on the bougainvillea.
Right? Why not?
Now Vijay tells me this tree is from Madagascar, but he also told me there's something very special about this rock. Could this rock also be from Madagascar? Where is Madagascar? Madagascar is this island really far away near Africa, as most of us know. Do you know anything else about Madagascar? Apart from the movie, of course. If I told you that Madagascar and South India were once joined at the hip, would you believe me? Well, the first time I heard that, I didn't believe it. So Vijay, India and Madagascar were actually joined at the hip at one time. I found that stunning when I first heard it. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Quite true. I'll just start with Gondwana land, which was located near the Antarctic. It broke up into five continents: South America, Africa, the Indian tectonic plate, Australia, and Antarctica. The Indian tectonic plate and Madagascar were actually one landmass. And when the Indian tectonic plate suddenly moved northwards, Madagascar broke away. It didn't pull it long, and that is the formation of Madagascar. But three things to be noticed about that. One is it's the fourth largest island in the world, Madagascar. It's a huge island. And second is, where it's broke away from India, you had the formation of what is called the Darwar Craton. And some of the earliest rocks in the peninsular India are a part of the same formation, and they go back 3.5 million years.
So there are rocks in the Deccan which are similar to rocks in Madagascar. You can actually see where it broke off.
Yes. And Madagascar over time has formed in its own way. It's got desert land, it's got seascapes, it's got cliffs, but because it's broke away pretty early, 88 million years ago from India, what was India and the Indian tectonic plate, the flora and fauna have been absolutely unique. You don't have it anything like that anywhere else in the world. You've got 6 out of the 8 species of baobabs right out of Madagascar, some of them like spectacular columns going up 100 feet. Then you've got 2 fauna which have died out. One is the elephant bird, which is 10 feet in height, and it died out after the first settlers came in. So also the giant lemur, which is the size of a gorilla, they've died out. But independently of all that, they have 900 different beautiful orchids. Getting back to the flora, they've got the baobabs. They've got the Madagascar periwinkle, which you find in gardens all over Bangalore. It's called Vincarosia also. It is used for treatment of high blood pressure for a long time in India, but it comes from Madagascar. And of course, you've got the Gulmohar, and you've got Colville's Glory, which is starting to flower in Bangalore just now. It's a very, very beautiful tree. When Madagascar was left behind, so to say, by the Indian tectonic plate, that was 88 million years ago. This fact was established and proved only in 2013, 9 years ago.
Wow.
But now all geologists worldwide accept it. Till then we didn't know about it.
We didn't know that India and Madagascar were joined till 2013.
Yes. It was people from Borneo who settled down and colonized Madagascar.
Borneo, Southeast Asia.
Yes. In fact, this was one of the rare westward movements in the Indian Ocean which mattered.
That must be really far.
Certainly, especially for outrigger boats. They came in outrigger boats the whole way through, 7,700 kilometers.
And when was this approximately?
Between 6th and 9th century AD, though the main settlers came in 800s.
800s?
Yeah, 8th century.
Wow.
That's when they came in. They brought their own language with them, which is the national language of Madagascar, that is Malagasy, which has traces of Sanskrit words. And of course, the people show even today Hindu rituals in their ceremonies.
It's fascinating. So let me get this right. Borneo is on the equator
Yes.
and they would have had to go through the Sunda Strait
Sunda
here,
Strait, yes.
and they go straight across the Indian Ocean to Madagascar, which is actually subtropical. So it's quite a journey.
It is. And it's one of the great sea
I mean, one of
journeys
the
in the
vast,
world.
really vast expanse of ocean.
Yes, yes. Of Indian Ocean without anywhere to go through if they run into trouble.
In fact, so from
It
my
was-
knowledge, this was also the time there was an eastward expansion by the Cholas or their predecessors into Southeast Asia.
Yes.
So their paths might even have crossed. I think.
Yes, very definitely, and especially when you talk about Sanskrit and
Mhm.
Hindu rituals,
Mhm.
certainly the people in Borneo would have picked up some of all this from the Southeast Asian movements of the Palas, the Cholas, and the maritime people out of Orissa also.
I mean, who would have thought when I stand under a Gulmohar tree, that it is movements of peoples over 1,000 years ago in the Indian Ocean, which,
And a westward movement,
also
which
true.
is the interesting thing. We always look at it as things happening from west to east. Have a look at the flowers, 5 petals, like shallow spoons with wavy edges, and 1 petal out of the 5 is off-white, sometimes yellowish, with streaks of red.
You know what? I'd never really noticed this because the flowers are normally so high up in the tree.
Yes.
You don't actually get to see the detail.
Quite true. And then below that, the light, luminescent, soft leaves of the Gulmohar, which are special in themselves. And the combination of these two is widely been exploited by painters.
So this is, they say it's fern-like. This is the
Yes, fern-like, and it's feathery, to use another term. And in part describes what you mean by flamboyant, and these two as a combination go very, very well, actually. The brilliant, vivid, color of orangish red, vermilion, and the soft, luminescent sort of color of the leaves. They're feathery because they're pinnate leaves, and you have one leaf, a whole lot of leaflets, which go up to 800 or 900 of them.
Wonderful.
So it's really a miraculous thing the way it happens. There's a time before summer when all the leaves fall off the Gulmohar tree.
Okay.
And you just have the branches that look good. Then suddenly the leaves come on, soft and gentle and feathery and almost a green luminescent color. Then bit by bit the flowers come in. They assert themselves till showing great audacity, they cover the whole plant, and the green is no longer seen.
I see.
And you have the Gulmohar, the flower, exhibiting itself in full glory, as it were.
So the flamboyant tree also is audacious.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's a prima donna. It also shows a great deal of audacity in the way it takes over the whole tree. When just before the leaves came and there's nothing on the tree. And this is a blaze of vermilion, which you see. And it is something absolutely impossible to ignore. That's why I say prima donna. You cannot ignore it when you go through the countryside. More than any other flower, it'll be the Gulmohar which will catch your eye. Yes, there are many, many uses of the Gulmohar. The wood has, of course, got multiple uses. Then you've got medicinal uses, anti-diarrhea, anti-diabetes. There are many extracts you get which are used for different human ailments. But what I found most interesting was it produces a water-soluble gum. And that gum is used to bind tablets in a pharmaceutical factory.
So Vijay, I'm told the Gulmohar is found literally everywhere.
That's quite true, and it's very interesting that from Madagascar, this tree has gone both east and west on both sides of the equator, right around the world. And it flourishes everywhere where it's gone, within the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. And
so it is not unique to India or any particular
it's
country.
Completely naturalized now everywhere. It's difficult to say what the origin of the plant is. Very
I'm
difficult.
told it's hardly seen in Madagascar today. Is that true?
That's true. It was almost extinct in Madagascar. In Vietnam, it's a very, very important tree. Both this form, Delenix regia and Delenix elata, with a white flower.
White flowers.
White flower.
I see.
And they are both widely used as avenue trees. Arun, it's extraordinary how this plant has spread to tropical America. It's called poinciana in tropical America, right from Puerto Rico through Florida, Costa Rica, all the countries around there. They celebrate the poinciana, and they have it in their songs, they have it in their various festivals.
I learned so much about the Gulmohar tree. A tree I thought, like most of us did, was a nice local tree with flaming red flowers. Firstly, it is not the flame of the forest. We didn't say that in the video. The flame of the forest is the palash, and to know more about that, you should see episode 2. This is not the flame of the forest, and it's not even local. I mean, unless you believe that Madagascar is Greater Kerala if you go back to 88 million years ago. And as we end this episode, I'd like to leave you with some stunning images of paintings done of the Gulmohar by our very own Van Gogh Romale. If you've seen our early episodes, you would have seen many of his spectacular paintings. Here are just a few samples of Romale's depiction of the Gulmohar in Bangalore.